Hi, I'm Meg Callahan with Infectious Disease Special Edition, and I'm here with Chloe Orkin, who's the presenting author on Artistry 1 data presented here at CROI 2026 about BIC-LEN, very exciting investigational new combination. Why BIC-LEN? What's novel about the combination?
So BIC-LEN is novel in a number of ways. So it's an integrase inhibitor, the BIC, second generation. And then it's LEN, which is a first-in-class capsid inhibitor. And it's combined into a single tablet regimen oral pill, which people take daily. And what's really important about the study that I've led, which is this study for people who were taking a complex regimen, is that these are people that haven't been able to benefit from advances in HIV therapy in most of the advances. Because most people living with HIV nowadays are taking one pill a day and have been for a long time. Or they may be taking 2 monthly injectable HIV therapy. But for these people, they are still taking a complex regimen.
And that would be due to resistance profile, like stuff like that?
So in this cohort of people, 80% had resistance, but they also had other contraindications. They had a number of comorbidities. Most people had some sort of cardiovascular comorbidity. A large proportion had more than 2 comorbidities. And were on other medications for these other conditions. This is a very unique population. It's the oldest median age of any HIV registrational trial. The median age was 60, and the oldest participant was well over 80. The participants were taking between 2 and 11 pills a day, and they'd been on treatment for just under 30 years for HIV. So they're a very, very special population. And they, if you look at the proportion of people that were taking pills twice a day, it was high. 40% were taking pills twice a day, and 60% were taking more than 3 tablets a day. So although so many people have benefited from advances in HIV therapy, not these people. Mm-hmm. And they're generally the people that were diagnosed at the beginning of the epidemic, and also people potentially who were born with HIV and have also been on treatment for a very long time.
So what were your main findings?
Well, the main findings is that BIC-LEN was non-inferior to continuing the complex regimen. There was no emergent resistance, despite the fact that 80% of them had resistance at some point to different agents. Mm. And that's a huge achievement. In terms of the tolerability, it was tolerable. There were very few premature discontinuations due to adverse events or serious adverse events. There was similar grade 3 adverse events in both arms. Despite an open label design, it was still really comparable. And I think the other really important finding in this population who had significant cardiovascular comorbidities is that lipids improved significantly. And also, of course, treatment satisfaction at every time point was statistically improved based on the HIV TSQ score. So, really important clinical findings for this population. Mm. And the drug is not limited to this population. It was also evaluated in another study and did very, very well. But it's just that I'm focusing on this population because, time has stood still for them.
One thing I'm also curious about that I think kind of goes with this is drug-drug interactions with BIC-LEN. Could you talk about that? I don't know if that was specifically in Artistry 1. But
yeah, so essentially with these complex regimens, nearly 80% of them are taking a protease inhibitor. And this is almost always accompanied by a booster agent, either ritonavir or cobicistat. And this is a very strong CYP3A4 inhibitor, and it pushes up drug levels very significantly of a lot of drugs. So withdrawing it improved the lipids, but it also really reduces the liability for significant drug interactions in this population, which is such a risk as people get older and they need more medications to treat other conditions.
I mean, obviously this is phase 3, so this has been through so much study already. Was anything surprising to you? Were you just pleased with the results?
I was just pleased with the results. I think, having worked with people living with HIV, cared for people living with HIV for such a long time, and watching some people, the world just standing still for them, watching everyone else taking a single pill a day and them not being able to do that, take injectables. Finally, to be able to say to them, here is this tiny pill It's the smallest of all single tablet regimens, which is a lovely perk. But just to be able to offer them finally something just feels so good as a clinician.